This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Well, Floyd Mayweather was challenged by Oscar Dela Hoya for $100 million. Now, Oscar De La Hoya recently just got out of the hospital, okay? Fighting the cooties. Now, I don't know why he feels like he could take on Floyd Mayweather right now, but Mayweather said, yeah. I'll do it, but I want $100 million guaranteed. I want it before it even happens. You got to you got to get the $100 million. He won't do it for any less. And he seems to doubt De La Hoya can actually get that kind of money together on an exhibition. Either way, his proposal is intriguing. De La Hoya coughs up the dough. The fans could be in for a treat. That's never going to happen. I don't think De La Hoya has that much money to put up. Let's see, La Hoya. No, I mean, this isn't always accurate, but what are they estimated at? Well, they estimated at $200 million. Okay, he did have some fighters, but to put that up, risk not getting it all back, most people wouldn't do that. You know, to put up his own money, he'd have to come up with it through another source, and he'd lose. This would be an exhibition anyways. It wouldn't even be a real fight. Many people wouldn't even tune into this, okay? And for this to be a thriller fight and everything, it would be interesting, but that's a lot of money, right? For an exhibition, but Floyd Mayweather said he'd do it. So back in the day, we're talking about like 03, 04, 05, Atlanta, So Def was, the label putting on for Atlanta. But there was another crew in town called Big MEECH BMF. Okay, BMF. They had billboards. The first time I ever came to Atlanta I had dropped out of college, and I went to Atlanta actually with Cormega. This was like one of my first. I was very young, and I came to Atlanta, and I remember seeing the BMF billboard. Because I think it was still up in 04, 05, right around that time. There was one when you got off the highway, and then there was a So Def billboard. And these guys, you could tell something was up. I mean, on these, on the Smack DVDs and everything, Smack was my competition with the Come Up DVD. And BMF did a lot of Smack DVDs. And you could tell these guys were up to something. I mean, they had all kinds of cars, bro, and they hadn't even sold a record yet. They had Lambos, Phantoms, back to back. They had about, when they went to the club, it was like, I never saw this, but you could see it on the DVDs, like 40 cars, all foreigns, all worth 200 and up. And they were throwing money in the clubs. I mean, they were really like supporting the nightlife in Atlanta. When you come to hear later, like years later, you hear the rumor, all the stories and everything. They were really just like supporting the strip clubs and all that kind of culture. And eventually they got indicted. Meech's brother actually he was handling like a West Coast operation, and he got caught on the phone on a wiretap because he was using the phones. And it looped in all Big Meech's stuff, and they had been having a little quarrel, the two brothers, and I guess he was on the phone talking about me, some other stuff, and it was enough to connect all the dots from 1990 in Detroit all the way up to 2005, and I think Meech went on the run and they got arrested, and he says, my biggest regret is, he didn't regret the billboards or anything, even though he said those did taunt the DEA, and all the parties taunted the DEA because, you're just flaunting it in their face, all the parties, the cars, the DVDs, all that kind of stuff was taunting, and you probably shouldn't taunt the DEA, I mean. But anyways, he says he regrets not being able to raise his son, who is coincidentally playing him in the series that 50 Cent launched today. I wasn't able to watch the first episode yet, but I will tomorrow, and I'll give you my review of that. But It's just interesting, man. There's so many documentaries and stuff. I'm sure you guys have watched them. They were the ones. I don't know. It was just like something very intriguing about these guys and how they did everything. It would have been great to see them flip it into a real label because you've seen a lot of other. I'm not going to mention the labels, but they've been able to turn from one side to the other side. And I'd say Big Meech was one of the first people to really. Well, he wasn't the first, but he was one that we recognized to first do this, and do it. Try to almost do it successfully. I mean, he's behind Jeezy's career a little bit, like he that added a lot to the mystery of Jeezy. And he had Blue Da Vinci, very interesting. But anyways, guys, I'll give you my review of that tomorrow, during the day. This is Jordan Tower, JT News. Peace.